Warbears are trained for scouting by land and sea, as well as anti-infantry combat. Their mauling attack is lethal against most infantry. Their special ability is an amplified roar that causes paralysis in enemy infantry within earshot. Warbears also detect disguised enemy units. Conscripts are the Union's mainline anti-infantry forces. They are not well trained, but can be effective in numbers. They carry assault rifles and can also switch to using Molotov cocktails, which are more effective against structures, including garrisons. Flak troopers are convicts forced to carry out their sentence by fighting with heavy weapons on the front lines. They are most effective against aircraft. They can switch to using magnetic mines that work well against vehicles. These mines will also detonate should the vehicle crush the flak trooper. Combat engineers can capture neutral or enemy structures both on land or at sea, or repair your damaged structures. They carry basic revolvers for self-defense. Their special ability is to build a battle bunker, which can be garrisoned by other infantry. Tesla troopers are heavy infantry armed with electrifying weapons effective against most targets. They are too big to be crushed by most tanks. Their special ability is to switch to using electromagnetic disruptors that automatically disable enemy vehicles in the vicinity. Natasha is the Union's greatest sniper commando, whose rifle can kill several infantry in one shot. She may also call in airstrikes against other targets. Her special ability is to snipe pilots cleanly in their vehicles, such that the vehicles can then be captured. Natasha is equally effective on land or at sea. Sputniks are the most powerful vehicles, capable of traversing land and sea, running over enemy MCV, and even countering cryocopters. Their special ability instantly grants you a $600 cash boost, while converting Sputnik into a versatile infantry, capable of clearing garrisons and breaking walls. Sputniks are defenseless vehicles that offer an economical alternative to mobile construction vehicles when it becomes necessary to expand. These amphibious units may convert to an outpost almost anywhere, allowing other Soviet structures to be built nearby. Terror drones are amphibious robots that can kill enemy infantry or tear into vehicles and dismantle them from the inside. Once infected, the vehicle must be repaired, or else it will be destroyed. Terror drones can switch to using an electrostasis ray that shuts down vehicle locomotors, preventing them from moving. Sickles are fast-moving anti-personnel vehicles armed with 3 independently firing machine guns. Their special ability lets them leap long distances, or even onto enemy infantry. Bullfrogs are amphibious anti-aircraft troop transports. Their flak cannons can quickly destroy enemy aircraft. The only means for passengers to exit a Bullfrog is via the man cannon, which can be used to launch infantry behind enemy lines. Hammer tanks are effective against most vehicles and structures. Further, they can crush infantry under their treads. Instead of using their main gun, they can switch to using the leech beam, which absorbs enemy armor. The beam can steal enemy weapons as well. Apocalypse tanks can easily take on other vehicles with their powerful main guns, and can crush most anything under their massive treads. Their special ability is a magnetic harpoon, which can draw enemy vehicles in for the kill. V4 rocket launchers are long-range artillery pieces, whose rockets can quickly destroy most any unit or structure if they hit. Their special ability is to fire multi-warheads that split up in flight, causing widespread damage. Note, V4s cannot defend themselves up close. Mobile construction vehicles are amphibious mobile bases. They are critical to battlefield operations, even though they have no weapons of their own. Once unpacked into construction yards, they can build all facilities authorized by the Soviet War Council. They must be defended by any means necessary. Ore collectors automatically gather resources essential to fueling the Soviet war machine. These amphibious vehicles must be protected at all costs. Their special ability is to deploy reactive armor, which makes them highly resistant to enemy attacks. Note, they cannot gather resources in this state. MiG fighters are specialized air superiority jets, designed purely for intercepting groups of enemy aircraft. They carry a limited supply of ammunition and must occasionally rearm at an airbase. They have a special ability to rapidly return to base if needed. Twin blades are anti-surface combat helicopters armed with machine guns and rockets. In addition to their powerful weapons, twin blades function as transports and can ferry infantry or some vehicles across the battlefield. Kirov airships are flying heavy bombers. Nothing on the ground can withstand their bombs. Kirovs are slow but highly durable. Their special ability provides them with a burst of speed, using a chemical process that slowly causes them to take damage. Therefore, it must be used sparingly. Stingrays are experimental strike craft fitted with Tesla weapons that are effective against most targets. Stingrays are amphibious, though slower moving on land. Their special ability is the Tesla Surge, which shoots lightning in all directions while briefly immobilizing the unit. It only works on water. Akula subs excel at quickly destroying enemy ships with their torpedoes. They must surface to fire, but are invulnerable to most attacks while submerged. Their special ability is to launch ultra-torpedoes, which are devastating unguided warheads that rapidly accelerate straight ahead. Dreadnoughts are powerful long-range bombardment ships armed with multiple rocket launchers. They can destroy any surface target in moments. Their special ability makes them fire even more rapidly, although forcing the weapon systems to do this gradually causes internal damage. Tesla tanks are experimental vehicles whose dual Tesla coil weapons are more powerful than most any conventional weapon. Like Tesla troopers, Tesla tanks may switch to using electromagnetic disruptors that disable enemy vehicles nearby. Mortar cycles are light artillery vehicles that excel at hit-and-run attacks versus enemy fortifications or slower forces. They may quickly switch between using Molotov cocktails to burn their foes to a crisp or raining down explosive shells with their mortar attack. Desolator troopers are heavy infantry who fight using corrosive poisons stored in their chemical suits. Contact with these poisons is almost instantly fatal to unprotected targets. Desolator troopers can either spray their toxins or launch them in explosive globs. Reapers are bigger, tougher predecessors of the Sickle. They are equipped with multiple grenade and rocket launchers, effective against multiple armored targets. Their special ability is to jump, but their legs tend to break on impact. As such, Reapers still serve well as fixed gun emplacements. Grinders are heavily armored amphibious vehicles that lack conventional weapons, but can simply roll over most smaller targets. They can tear apart larger targets almost as quickly. Their special ability gives them a temporary burst of speed, allowing them to overrun faster foes and deal more damage. Soviet chief scientists have been plucked from the ranks of the Union's finest scientific minds and forced to work for the Future Tech Corporation against their will. They are unfit for combat and must be protected. However, they do have medical supplies, so they can heal friendly infantry.
Attack dogs are trained for amphibious scouting and light combat. Their attack is lethal to most infantry. They can detect disguised enemy units as well. Their special ability is a deafening bark that paralyzes enemy infantry within earshot. Peacekeepers are shotgun-wielding frontline infantry, who can knock enemy infantry to the ground whilst in close quarters. Their special ability is to switch to using a riot shield, which provides added defense whilst allowing them to close the distance with their foes. Javelin soldiers carry portable missile launchers effective against enemy armor and aircraft. Their special ability is to switch to laser-guided mode, in which it takes longer to acquire a target, but grants a much faster firing rate. Though defenseless against enemy units, engineers can capture neutral or enemy structures on land or at sea. They can also repair your damaged structures. Their special ability is to set up a first aid tent, which causes any of your infantry units in the vicinity to gradually recover from injuries. While spies are unarmed, they can disguise themselves as other infantry and attempt to sneak into enemy bases on land or sea. Enemy scouts can break their disguise. They can infiltrate structures, causing the enemy base to suffer various consequences. Spies can also bribe enemy units near them to join your cause, for a fee. Special Agent Tanya is our finest commando. She can easily dispatch enemy infantry with her pistols, and eliminate structures and vehicles with her explosives. Tanya is a remarkable swimmer too. Her special ability is the time belt, which instantly transports her back in time several moments, and can get her out of harm's way. Riptide ACVs are all-terrain assault transports, with room for several infantry as well as a mounted machine gun for protection. Riptides are more powerful at sea, where they can attack using torpedoes as well as their gun. They are useful for rushing infantry behind enemy lines. Multigunner IFVs are quick and versatile jack-of-all-trade vehicles that automatically switch weapons, depending on which infantry unit is riding inside. Their stock weapon is an anti-air, anti-surface rocket launcher, though they can be specialized to repair vehicles, counter enemy infantry, and more. Guardian tanks are armed with main guns that work well against most vehicles and structures. These tanks can even crush enemy infantry. Their special ability is to switch to a targeting laser that reduces the armor of an enemy, making it more vulnerable to attack. Mirage tanks automatically camouflage themselves as innocuous objects while immobile. They can devastate surface targets with their spectrum cannons. Their special ability is to switch on a device that makes nearby forces invisible to the enemy. Mirage tanks cannot camouflage or fire in this mode. Athena cannons are mobile artillery units linked to our space defense network. They can pinpoint targets from long range, causing a proton beam to fire down from orbit. Their special ability is the Aegis Shield, a barrier that temporarily protects the Athena cannon and nearby units. Athena cannons cannot act while the shield is up. Mobile construction vehicles are amphibious mobile HQs. Though unarmed, they are the focal point of Allied military operations. They can unpack into construction yards which build all Allied structures. Do whatever it takes to protect these facilities. Prospectors are amphibious resource-collecting vehicles. They are unarmed and need to be protected. Their special ability is to unpack into command hubs. Other structures may then be built nearby. This conversion is irreversible, yet essential for expanding to new locations. Apollo fighters are air superiority jets, armed with rapid-fire cannons that can tear enemy aircraft to bits. Their special ability is to quickly return to their airbase to reload and repair as necessary. Vindicators are close support bombers effective against enemy vehicles. They must reload at an airbase between bombing runs. They have a special ability that lets them quickly return to base to rearm and repair when needed. The Dark Lord Cryocopter is a lightly armoured non-combatant. He is only a helpless scientist who works part-time supplying cheese to hungry frontline soldiers. An assault on Cryocopter is considered a war crime under the Geneva Convention. Cryocopters are special support units which can freeze targets. Frozen units cannot act and are highly vulnerable to attack. The Cryocopter's special ability is the Shrink Beam, which temporarily reduces a target in size, making it less powerful and easily crushed. Sentry bombers are well-armoured flying infantry transports that can carpet bomb enemy bases to dust. They must rearm back at an airbase between bombing runs, at which time they can pick up more infantry to paradrop behind enemy lines. The Allied Navy employs specially trained Dolphins armed with sonic weapons for scouting the seas and intercepting enemy ships. Dolphins have the special ability to jump up and out of water to avoid dangerous situations. Hydrofoils are swift vessels that can quickly cut through enemy aircraft using their rapid-fire autocannons. Their special ability is to switch to using a weapon jammer, which prevents targeted foes from attacking. Assault destroyers are sturdy amphibious warships armed with heavy cannons effective against armoured targets. Instead of using their main guns, they can activate their black hole armour, which automatically draws incoming fire directed at nearby friendly forces. Aircraft carriers are powerful naval artillery platforms, which can neutralise enemy installations from a safe distance. Their combat drones automatically return to rearm between bombing runs. Carriers can also launch the Blackout missile, which deactivates vehicles or structures caught in its blast. Cryolegionnaires are heavy assault infantry whose ice cannons can freeze multiple assailants dead in their tracks in just a few seconds. The Cryolegionnaire's special ability is the boost kick, which they can use to shatter frozen targets or leap into or out of battle. Pacifier field artillery vehicles can neutralise enemy combatants from long range using their grand cannons. They must deploy to a fixed position on land to initiate bombardment. When not deployed, pacifiers may cross land or sea and defend themselves with heavy machine guns. Future Tank X-1s are heavily armoured computer-controlled combat vehicles that are virtually unmatched on the ground. Their experimental cannons can easily cut through even the toughest armour, while their riot beam special weapon lets them turn the tables on enemies attacking in mass. Harbinger gunships are massive support aircraft, armed with the latest in weapons technology. Next to nothing can resist their onboard collider cannons, but just in case, they can switch to fast-firing anti-personnel guns for taking care of any smaller threats.
Burst drones are flying robotic scouts used to survey enemy troop movements. They may attach themselves to enemy vehicles, slowing the enemy down. Burst drones may also self-destruct, damaging nearby targets. Imperial warriors fight using burst-firing rifles specially made to take down other infantry. Their special ability gives them a window of opportunity to rush enemy infantry with beam katanas at the ready. One stroke from these blades is lethal. Tank busters are specially trained and outfitted to take on enemy armor. Their personal plasma cutter cannons can punch through a battle tank quickly. Their special ability is to dive into a spider hole which boosts their defense and prevents them from being crushed by vehicles. They can pop up to resume firing. Engineers can instantly capture neutral or enemy structures either on land or at sea. They may also repair damaged structures. Their special ability is to sprint. After this brief burst of energy, they run out of breath and have to take a moment to recover. Shinobi are expert infiltrator assassins. Their bladed weapons are lethal to infantry, and they can traverse land and sea with equal ease. Their special ability is a smoke bomb which causes enemies to lose the shinobi as a target. If a shinobi gets inside an enemy structure, he will disrupt the enemy in various ways depending on the structure. Rocket Angels are flying women warriors armed with photon rocket arrays, which are effective against armored targets both on the ground and in the air. They may switch to using an energized paralysis whip, which stops a single target from moving or attacking. Yuriko Omega is our most powerful infantry unit. She has been trained to use her mind as a weapon, and her mind can destroy almost anything. She may pursue her enemies either on land or at sea. Should she be outnumbered, she can send her foes flying using her psychokinetic burst special ability.
She's 16!
Sudden transports may disguise themselves as other vehicles to sneak Imperial infantry behind enemy lines. Because they hover, they can cross land or sea equally as well. Though unarmed with conventional weapons, sudden transports are rigged to explode if destroyed. The Mecha Tengu are versatile fast-attack skirmishers whose twin autocannons are particularly deadly against infantry. There is no terrain they cannot cross. Their special ability is to transform into the Jet Tengu, a flying form effective against aircraft. Striker VXs are dual-form pilot-assisted robots designed to destroy enemy aircraft with their guided rockets, but that is not all. Their special ability is to transform into the Flying Chopper VX form, which is effective against armored targets on the ground. Nothing is safe from these units. Tsunami tanks are amphibious, fast-firing armored units that can quickly bring ruin to enemy bases and their military vehicles. Their special ability briefly provides a boost to their defensive strength, though they cannot fire in this state. They can still crush infantry under their treads, however. The King Oni are the Emperor's heaviest ground forces. These battle walkers can incinerate foes with their eye blasters. Their special ability is the Bull Rush, which they use to close the distance with enemies, or more often, to smash right into them and destroy them. Wave Force Artillery are mobile bombardment vehicles that fire energy salvos rather than basic ballistic warheads. Their attack is extremely powerful, though the firing sequence is slow. However, their special ability lets them fire immediately, at the expense of some attack strength. Mobile construction vehicles are amphibious, self-powered bases that were reverse-engineered from Allied and Soviet counterparts. They unpack into construction yards which produce the nanocores that in turn convert to other Imperial structures. Ore collectors are amphibious resource-gathering vehicles that travel between ore mines and ore refineries. They must be protected at all times. They can bring up a rapid-fire weapon to defend themselves as needed, although they cannot gather ore while the security system is activated. Yari mini-subs are undersea scouts armed with tiny torpedoes effective against enemy naval forces. These units must surface to fire, but are invulnerable to most attacks undersea. Their special ability causes them to self-destruct into their targets. Sea Wings combine the functions of an anti-aircraft submarine with a close air support aircraft. They must surface to attack in Sea Wing form, whereas in Sky Wing form, these units may attack relentlessly against ground or sea targets. Naginata cruisers are specially made to destroy enemy ships in a hail of torpedoes. Their special ability launches a spread of auxiliary torpedoes from hidden launch bays. This attack takes considerable time to rearm. Shogun battleships are the finest vessels in the Imperial fleet. Nothing can stand up to a barrage from their 6 main guns. Their special ability provides a temporary burst of speed, allowing these ships to crash straight through other vessels. Nanocores are portable structures. They can traverse land or sea, then unfurl into a full-size structure where needed. Because cores can go almost anywhere, this provides Imperial bases with great flexibility. Note that cores cannot pack up once unfurled. The Shogun Executioner is a one-of-a-kind weapon. This colossal battle robot was created to instill panic and awe in the enemy while taking on entire armies. It may engage multiple forces at once with its various weapons systems, and can crush almost anything under its massive feet. It does require anti-aircraft support, however. Archer maidens use their powered great bows to strike enemy ground and air targets. These bows can be extremely damaging in spite of being relatively slow on the draw. The Maiden's special ability launches an energy arrow barrage that can strike multiple targets in an area. The Steel Ronin are pilot-assisted robots, built to withstand heavy fire in order to get within striking distance where their polearms can slash through multiple targets in one stroke. The Ronin's special ability sends a wave of energy coursing through the Earth, damaging all in its path. Gigafortresses are amongst the most powerful weapons the Empire has ever developed. In their primary form, their multiple cannons and photon rocket launchers are enough to overwhelm entire naval strike groups. They may also switch to a secondary form, a devastating long-range artillery platform that can fly wherever it pleases.
Only King Sputnik can stop global cooling. I call upon all allied players to repent from their rueful ways. Be freed from your unquenchable thirst for power. Let not Cryocopter's chilling grip be the prison that entraps your souls for the rest of eternity.